If you are in a situation where you are trying to gain results, you're working really hard, but for some reason you are not achieving your goals, or you might be in a situation where you are achieving your goals, but it's not to the level that you want, or you could be feeling stagnated, then the law of hypnotic rhythm could be the reason why you are stuck. And it's about overcoming this law of hypnotic rhythm that can change something drastically in your life to be able to achieve the goals that you want. My name is Eureka and I live in New Zealand. And in today's episode, I want us to focus and understand the law of hypnotic rhythm. Because once you understand this, you have power to change this. But to change this, the best way is to understand the complete life cycle of how our subconscious mind really works. Because if we know the complete life cycle, then as analytical people, we can pick the areas that need to be reprogrammed so that we can get a completely different result. So firstly, what is the law of hypnotic rhythm? Well, Napoleon Hill actually wrote about this in his books, and this was ages ago, in the 1900s. And he said that as human beings, most of us, 98% of us, are stuck in this rhythm, right? And only 2% have learned how to break out of it. And we need to be in that 2%, and it takes work. So the law of hypnotic rhythm is actually when you move from thought to emotion and then back into thought and then emotion. And this is a constant noise that keeps on happening, and you take unconscious action. All right? And to be able to move out of that, the first thing to remember is that all of us, every human being, has thoughts. Okay? Now these thoughts are broken down into two things: incoming thoughts and outgoing thoughts. Now what are incoming thoughts? Incoming thoughts are thoughts that get planted unconsciously into our mind. It could be because of someone telling you something that is going to happen, which probably might not be true. It could be the news. It could be the media. It could be like something you've read somewhere online. Or it could be something that, someone near and dear in your circle of influence said something, but just casually, and you started taking that and acting upon that, right? Or it could be like culture, or it could be social norms. So these are all incoming thoughts. And as human beings, we pick on those thoughts and then we attach an emotion to it. Now that emotion could be a positive emotion, it could be a negative emotion, or it just could be a neutral emotion. What really we need to recognize is that as a human being, as a creator of your life, you have the choice to pick and choose the incoming thoughts. But we do not do that. We take on so many thoughts that we just start attaching emotions, and then we get overwhelmed, we have anxiety, we have happiness, we have love, we have all this emotion, and we get stuck between both the thought and the emotion. Now, to be able to break free, you've got to recognize that there is also outgoing thoughts, and these are thoughts that you can plant into your subconscious mind. Because whatever thought you put and whatever emotion you attach to that thought, then what happens is that it starts becoming a belief. And that belief might not be strong initially, but over time, that belief starts becoming really strong for that thought. And this belief, to get stronger, what happens is our mind starts reprogramming itself. And this is where it's called, I think it's the RAS system, which is the reticular activating system. But for this episode, I'll just call it RAS. The our RAS starts reprogramming. And once we start reprogramming, the mind starts looking for proof to solidify this belief. All right? And then once we have enough proof, that's when it becomes the truth in our life. And sometimes the thoughts that we have accepted in our mind are the thoughts that are stopping us. And that's the hypnotic rhythm. Because our emotions are all over the place and we keep taking thoughts and we have no training whatsoever of how to be able to take control and reprogram our mind to get the desired result that we want. Now I'll give you an example so that we can understand the complete life cycle. So the incoming thought when I started my business, and it was during the COVID period, all right? So we had a complete shutdown in New Zealand, and I'm sure it was a complete lockdown in most parts of the world. And in recruitment, businesses started cutting down on costs, right? So the incoming thought that somehow I picked up was that, wow, this is going to be like really devastating, because I started noticing that people were cutting down on costs. Candidates or clients did not want to do too much of hiring and moving to a different job. And that thought I latched onto, and I started getting into an emotion which was fear. Like, wow, if this keeps continuing, probably I'll have to let go of some of my teammates. Probably our business is going to suffer and we might not be able to make it. And I got a call from my accountant, and my accountant said, his wife, who is into immigration, everything has stopped in her business and it's really, really devastating. And I latched onto that thought, right? And I created an emotion of fear. And once I created that emotion, I automatically started getting into a mindset of believing that COVID is going to destroy my business, right? And to solidify this belief, what started happening is that my mind suddenly started picking out things to prove to myself that COVID is going to have an impact on my business in a very, very bad manner. And so, if I would contact a client and if they said, no, we are not looking to hire at the moment, it was proof that, this is actually happening. If I, had an outreach campaign and I spoke to software engineers and they said right now, because of whatever is happening, they don't want to even look at another job opportunity, it was proof that this is really going to happen. When my teammates, started feeling that, wow, probably we need to shut down our business. Someone drastically said that, and it was proof, that this is going to have an impact on my life, on my family, on my business. And once I started getting into that mode, it started becoming a truth, which was something I did not want, right? But somehow it got planted at the thought level, and I started getting into an emotion of fear. Now, I want you to take a moment and pause and see if the truth or if the result or the goal is to get a promotion or to get to a next level in your business. What is a thought that you have latched onto that is stopping you from getting into that zone? Probably a thought could be that, to be successful in business, to be successful in your career, you need to work really hard, and that too long hours. It could have been a thought that came through, right? And now you've got an emotion that the days where you don't work well in your business, or if you are slacking for some reason, you immediately attach a thought that I'm being a loser, I am not being motivated, I'm not working hard. And so what happens is you get into the thought of like, to be successful, I have to work really, really hard. The thought is that you're not working, the emotion that you create is that you're not working really hard. And then your reticular activating system, or your RAS, starts to reprogram itself to start looking for proof on areas where you're not working hard. So the days where you feel tired and you go and watch Netflix, for example, it is proof that you're not working hard and you cannot be successful. It could be that you spent suddenly like 2 hours on Facebook. It is proof that you are just wasting your time and you're not working hard. Or it could be that you worked a long day and you did a few mistakes and you have to redo all the work again. It is proof that you cannot be successful because you have not mastered the art of working hard, right? And then that becomes your truth. And it is something that you're doing by accepting an incoming thought. Now, when you know that this can be possible, that incoming thoughts, you have a choice, right? You can choose to start reprogramming your mind to having outgoing thoughts which are going to be powerful for your life. Now, what do I mean by this? The powerful thought could be, now in my situation, when, whatever was happening during lockdown, I recognized that I have accepted something which is becoming my truth, and it is not actual reality. There are lots of businesses that are thriving. Look at Zoom, look at LinkedIn, look at all the software companies who are working remotely from home. That's not their truth, that things are going to get bad. That is something that I am doing to myself. So when I started recognizing this, the outgoing thought that I decided to put into my mind is, this is perfect. This gives me a chance to create a business where we are location free, where we have the opportunity to be able to place different software engineers from different parts of the world remotely to work at a company, a thriving company in New Zealand. This gives me the opportunity to be able to create a business which can go global, right? Now that was the thought I intentionally decided to plant into my mind. And the emotion was excitement, the emotion was success, the emotion was happiness that, I could be in a different part of the world some other time and I could still run my business. So when I put this thought, I recognized that I could have a business that is location free, that I could place different candidates from different parts of the world remotely to companies who are looking for talent. I could help clients in any part of the world, that my business, my teammates could work from anywhere and do not have to be in a specific location. And so the emotions that started happening were emotions of excitement, emotions of happiness, emotions of contentment, emotions of peace, that this is possible, right? As soon as I attached the emotion that I wanted for my outgoing thought, then the reticular activating system, I recognize now I have to go and find proof of how this is going to work, why this is going to work for me. And what I started doing is I started calling up my existing clients and started asking them, why is it that you wanted to work with our business? What are some of the things that we do really well? And they started telling me and telling my teammates why they worked with us in the past. We started calling up our existing candidates that we had placed in different roles of what were some of the good things that we did when they were going for interviews, when they were getting the offer, how we helped them in negotiating for their salaries. So they started giving feedback of the things that worked for them when they worked with us. Now, this was proof that we could do this globally. We don't have to be doing it in one specific area within New Zealand, right? I then started reaching out to software engineers overseas who might have had an impact because of whatever's happening in the world, and started asking them, like, how have you operated in the past, and are you open to the possibility of working location free remotely in a different time zone? Is that something that would be beneficial to your life? And some of them who had kids and where they can work in the night, which is going to be for us in New Zealand in the morning, it was perfect. And so what started happening was my reticular activating system started looking for proof to validate the new thought that was put into my mind, which I planted intentionally, consciously, right? And then that becomes your truth. And so the business has evolved, right? It's in a completely different stage of its life. So similarly, if you are working intensely right now, ask yourself, what are some of the incoming thoughts that have consciously become your truth? Write down some of your limiting beliefs that you have identified, that maybe it's really hard to make money, or maybe, I don't have the communication skills and that's why I'm not going to get to a team lead position or a managerial position. Maybe in your business you think, if I don't have a YouTube channel with 1 million subscribers, then probably, it's not going to work for me. Or maybe you think that, I have to spend a lot of advertising money and I don't have that money, so probably we're not going to generate leads for our business. All of this is incoming, right? And we are attaching an emotion which is scarcity, which is lack, which is we are putting ourselves down, we're having fear. We are creating anxiety in our life that is not helping us. And then we have a belief that comes into the picture, which then our reticular activating system is trying to find proof, and then that becomes the truth. Look to see what is the emotion and the thought that you want to plant in. If you want to have a thriving business in today's century, you can have it. If you want to have a higher promotion, because maybe you don't want to have your own business and you want to get into the corporate zone and you want to be a software manager, or you want to be in a managerial position, or you want to have that raise in salary, start telling yourself and attaching an emotion that is going to contribute to that thought. Don't put yourself down. Look to see how can you have an emotion that makes you happy if that happens. And then once you have that emotion, start looking for proof to validate that thought. Start looking to see what is working in your life. Start being grateful for the things that you already have. Don't keep thinking about what you don't have. Think of all the things that you have, right? And your reticular activating system is very, very powerful. It does not understand if it's a good thought or a bad thought. It just goes to work to find proof. And the more proof you find, the stronger that belief will happen, and that will become your truth. So, to summarize today's episode, because I can keep going on and tell you different stories, but that's not the intention. The intention is for you to be able to get out of the hypnotic rhythm, which is the thought and the emotion, and being stuck in that thought and emotion, and to be able to really understand how the subconscious mind works and how we can have the power to reprogram it. So the steps are, the life cycle of our mind is that there are thoughts, and these thoughts are incoming as well as outgoing. Once a thought is in our mind, we start generating an emotion. That emotion could be a positive emotion, it could be a negative emotion, or it could be a neutral emotion. We have to then, from an emotion, start it starts becoming a belief, right? It's not that strong, the belief. Now we can choose how strong we want that belief to be by reprogramming our reticular activating system to go and start looking for proof to validate the thought that we have planted. And the more the reticular activated system starts finding proof to validate the concept or the thought in your mind, the more it will become the truth. And that is how you can change from not getting the result to getting the result. I hope this has been useful. I hope this is going to help you to be able to get to the next level in your life. And also, if you can, please do comment on our YouTube channel and tell me what was the one area that you picked up that is going to actually help you. Because by you doing that action, it not only helps me to understand whether I've communicated the message properly, but it also helps other people who might stumble across this video to get the concept which maybe I might have not been able to explain properly, or they did not catch it while they were listening to this episode. With that, I wish you peace, I wish you health, I wish you abundance of success, whatever you choose to be. Take care, bye for now. All the way from New Zealand, namaste.